Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It means it's time for another live stream. Today is Wednesday. It's hard to believe it's Wednesday. I'm just totally off. I've been off by a day with the travel day this week. But it is Wednesday, August 24th, 2022. Hope you guys are doing well. Everyone listening in podcast land, the audio-only version, hopefully you're having a good run out there today and that it's not too hot for you guys. Summer's starting to cool off around here in Chicago. Well, in Crystal Lake anyway. It's starting to feel really nice. Although, it depends on when you go, because my run was a little bit later. I've been going after I drop off the kids for school, or I take them to the bus stop. I don't really drop them off. And it's been a little bit warmer. So hopefully you guys are staying cool out there if you're listening to this on the audio only. Everyone watching this on YouTube later after the fact, welcome to you guys as well. Hopefully you had a really good day today. All right, let's see who we got in the chat. We got Mandy Paria LeBlanc says, hello all. Hope everyone is well here in South Louisiana. The question is, when can we mow the lawn again? Oh boy. Yeah, you guys getting, were you guys getting a lot of water? Oh yeah, you guys are getting a lot of water, aren't you? I think like the Houston area, Louisiana, you guys are all just getting pretty hammered pretty hard. For those of you who are listening in the audio only, I wrote in the caption for today's live stream that I'm very much looking for when I don't have to mow the lawn anymore, which is a legitimate question because I mean at some point you stop mowing the lawn for the year, right? I just don't remember when that is. I haven't had a lawn that I've been in charge of since high school. So I'm talking like 1997. So like I just don't know. I just have no idea. Right now I'm averaging mowing the lawn like 2 times a month, which I feel like is nothing to complain about, but the amount of effort for the amount of enjoyment, I just don't like doing it. I'm not proud of my work afterwards. I guess the kids play in the lawn now, so I guess that's good. But, I just I really am looking forward to not having to do it anymore for the year. Terrence to me wants to know what's the current lawn mowing shoe. I don't want to disparage any shoes, so I'm like hesitant to talk about it a little bit. But this shoe has been really great for mowing the lawn. It's the Mizuno, the one with the Energy foam. I forget which one it is. It's not a Wave Rider. It's the one that they had poised to compete with the Endorphin Speed. It looks like there's Piba foam in there. It's got like the beaded midsole foam. It was just a little bit too firm, and it was a 12 millimeter drop for me to enjoy kind of in the way that they intended. But it's a beautiful shoe. It fits great, very comfortable, lots of great tread, and it ends up being really good for mowing the lawn. So I've been really enjoying that one. Martha's here. She gives a nice wave emoji, and Shannon says, hi, CoFamzy. Good to see you guys. All right, we got a question. Eliza says, hi, CoFam. Hope everyone is well. You know what? I got to thank you for saying that. My kids, this was their first week of school. I think, so far so good. It's only Wednesday, but it's like I've got a completely new 5th grader. She was a little bit mopey about school. She was really missing her old friends. Anytime we tried to introduce her to kids in the neighborhood, she got really quiet and shy, which I could definitely relate to because I was exactly that same way. I moved with my family when I was about the same age. So it was like deja vu. But after the first day, something clicked, and now she's her normal, gregarious, outgoing, very caring self again. And we've been letting her run around the neighborhood like a free range chicken. You just open the door and let her go out. Or like a pet with a cat, like the pet door. She'll just be like, we're going to see my friends. Blah, blah, blah. And we're like, okay, bye. See you later. I don't know where you're going, but all right. I'm like, just don't leave the subdivision. So she's made it home the last 2 nights in a row before dinner. So it's been working out. Things are going well. Midlife Runner says, hey, coach, for the Chicago Marathon, I'm in Corral C, 320 group, but aiming for 3 hours to 3:05. What mile do people disperse a little? Should I wiggle zigzag a bit to stay close to 7:14 pace early on? I want to say that even in I think I'm usually in Corral B or Corral C. I know Corral B has a 3-hour pace group. I'm not sure about Corral C. Yeah, that I'm not too sure about. I would not worry about wiggling and zigzagging to try and stay close, because everyone that's in corral C that's pushing their way up to the front is going to go out faster than they like probably should, or is in the same exact situation as you. So like, don't worry about it. Like, kind of don't fight, the crowd in the first like mile or even 2 miles. There's just a lot of people. There's room to maneuver if you really want to, but you're going to end up running. And Columbus is so wide, you're going to end up doing a lot of zigzagging more than it's worth. So I'd say just chill, find your spot. You'll probably find a bunch of people that are running your exact pace in your corral. I actually wouldn't worry about it. So, but if you are, like, chat with everybody, see what they're like planning on running, because I'm guessing that you can find a couple of friends that are looking to do the same thing. All right. Let's see who else we got. We got Sean Devlin here. Says hello. Hey everyone. Easy 8 today. I had to break out the headlamp. Yeah, I was thinking about going for a run before the kids got up for school today, and I was like trying to like do the math of like, all right, I need to be back before like this amount of time to get the baby up, and I'm like, and then I'm looking at like the sunrise. I'm like, I would have been up before the sunrise, and I didn't feel like busting out the headlamp today. I had to do a workout. So the workout was 5K workout 5 times a K at race pace, which is like finally like one of the first of these workouts that like makes sense to me. That's the only way that I've ever really like known how to train for a 5K is either to do 800 meter repeats or kilometer repeats at 5K race pace. So but that was today. And it was kind of hard. It was hard. So I was very tired by the end of it, and then I went and just started mowing the lawn right after. And by the time I was done mowing the lawn, I was like, oh, I don't feel good. Because I think I didn't have enough sugars and electrolytes. I sweated more than I realized, I think. So now I'm drinking Noon with some caffeine in it. Recycle on Wednesdays here. Says, hi, everyone. Good to see ya. Edgar Smith says, yo, made it for a live stream. Jay Preza says, co. Luis Becerra says, yo, what's going on? And Calvin's here says, yo. All right, I'm going to scroll down and catch up with you guys in the chat. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, Midlife Runner says, in terms of making new friends before the race, yes, I like new friends, so that's good. Yeah, I would say chat some people up. You'll have a lot of time to sit in the corrals, too. Chicago always makes people sit in the corrals for a long time. It makes for a panicky bathroom situation and then like an extra nervous energy in the corral situation, but it is one of like the biggest marathons in the world. So I guess I get why they do it, but, yeah, so you'll have plenty of time to talk to people. All right. Shannon said, I just registered for Indy in the morning and will transfer the CIM bib, but may come to the race just to spectate. Awesome. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I'm debating whether or not I should go to Indy this year because I haven't been. I went the one time to run it with my friend, my running buddy, and then I haven't been back since. But I just feel like it's a fun race. It's a fun race. I feel like it'd be a good one to go see. Indianapolis is a fun city as well. The time that me and my running buddy ran it after the race, we had a pretty fun night on the town, so it was pretty. Good place for in terms of like post-race festivities. So maybe that's something that I'll do. I don't know. I'll have to run that by my wife, see how she feels about that. I feel like I'm running so many races this fall to be like, I'm not even going to run this one. I'm just going to go. She'll be like, what? I've done that before. I did for New York last year. So, yeah. Let's see. Who else we got in here? Rachel Curry says, free range parenting. High five. You know who uses that phrase? I stole that phrase from? Because I don't know anyone else that uses that phrase except for Lindsay Hine. Lindsay Hine talked about that a lot. Apparently she used to do that a lot in Indianapolis where she used to live. And now she has moved to one of the Carolinas. I can never remember which one. But she uses that phrase a lot where she just kind of lets the kids come and go. And like I grew up in the suburbs and we totally did that, but it was also that was like 30 years ago. So it was very different time. And so like I was like, it just seemed very like strange for me as someone that like I wouldn't even let my kids walk the dog by themselves, in the city. So yeah. So, but it's been kind of nice. I was talking to the other parents. We were waiting for the bus down the street together for the kids to get dropped off. And I'm like, this whole bus thing is pretty fantastic. I don't gotta like go walk somewhere. Like before, I used to have to walk like a little bit more than half a mile to the school to pick up the kids, and then you'd wait, and then like they would release the kids to you and everything like that. And like if it was raining, it was always this fiasco. But it was, you talk to other parents and stuff like that too. And then the kids would always want to play at the playground at the school afterwards. So it was nice. We had our like routine. This is just a lot nicer. There's just takes a lot less time. And then my older daughter just will go. She's like, she has a friend that lives like 3 or 4 houses down in her grade. And she's like, we already talked about it. I'm going to meet her outside the house at this time. And then when she sees me outside, she'll come outside and then we'll walk to the bus stop. So is it okay if I go by myself? And my wife and I are looking at each other and we're like, I don't see why not, but this is new territory for us. We don't know. I don't know. We're like, I don't know the answer. So we're like, I guess we'll watch you from the window and keep an eye on you. So we're getting used to this whole like suburban life thing. But like, I think that all the other moms were like, this dude's weird. But I think they all know like we came from the city. So we're just like, we're not used to parenting this way. Calvin wants to know, how did the guy who ran Falmouth in the 880s do? I don't know, but there was, I don't think I was seeing things. There was a guy at the men's elite field lined up front row in 880, not even the last version. The latest one, it was 880 version 11. It was a black pair of 880s. So unless they did some sort of really good job at like camouflaging a prototype shoe to look like last year's 880, there was a dude that ran. I don't know who it was. I couldn't see the bib because they separate you from the elite field. There's like a wall of volunteers that separate you. So I couldn't get too close. And already I was making people mad because I had like not elbowed, but I had like wiggled my way to the front so I could see what everyone was wearing. And like everyone that I was walking past was a very fast, like general population runner. And my plan was I was going to hop up front, look at all the shoes, and then head further back. So that way I wouldn't be in people's way. So I was running in front. I'm like trying to do this as fast as I could. And I couldn't see the bib of the person that ran in the 880s, but it was pretty amazing. I think it was the only pair of like non-racing shoes that I saw in either the men's or the women's elite field. The second most surprising shoe was an old pair of Carbon Rocket. The first Hoka carbon shoe. The Pacer wasn't a carbon plated shoe, was it? Anyway, that Carbon Rocket. Do you guys remember the Carbon Rocket? I ran Houston in that thing. It was a 23 millimeter stack height shoe with a 1 millimeter drop. Super stiff EVA foam. That actually it would be a really fun 7-mile race shoe. I'm like, that's actually a really good choice. I don't know how you still have a pair of those, but that's amazing. Yeah, it was fun, like sneaker peeping, I guess, is what, I don't know what you would call that. HBC San Antonio says, greetings from San Antonio. 10K in the refreshing rain this morning. That's nice. Hopefully you're not, yeah, I mean, up there you're not getting it too bad. So that's good. Stevie says, at what age is it safe for kids to use public transportation? My wife and I talked about that a lot. And like, unfortunately, I think it's one of those things like the answer depends if you've got a boy or a girl. And for our daughter, like for public transportation would have been different. But I know some of the other parents in our old neighborhood, they had 7th and 8th graders that would walk to school by themselves. I don't think that there was any 6th graders doing that, but 7th and 8th graders. In terms of taking public transportation, yeah, I don't know. Maybe if they were like 12, 13, so about the same age, 12, 13, maybe is when I would start letting them do that. I think it would depend on when the return trip was going to be. If it was going to be too late, I probably wouldn't let them do that. But yeah, I think it depends on like which public transit, where it's going, what time, Kevin Hong says 1 millimeter drop is at least more honest than the Ultra Vanish tempos. Do you think there's a big drop on that? I think, did Thomas say that there was a drop on the tempos, or someone was saying that there was? I think that on the carbon, I definitely noticed that it felt like there was like one shelf and then a lower shelf in the 4-foot. I wouldn't call it a drop. And I just feel like I don't know, the foam itself might be 0 drop, but I feel like the 4-foot and foam squished a lot more. It just felt different. It didn't feel like 0 drop. But I also have been saying for a long time that I think Ultra needs to stop being like the 0 drop company and be like the foot shape company. And still keep most of their shoes 0 drop, but I feel like they can also make some 4 millimeter drop shoes too. Mika's here says, evening all, back from a run. Ran tempo threshold, run by feel. Ended up with 171 heart rate average for 44-minute effort, total 70 minutes. That's a lot. That's a lot of time, 44 minutes. Felt pretty good. And first run in a pair of Boston 9s. You have a fresh pair of Boston 9s still? Oh, man. Bren says, I always stare at people when they're running to check their shoes. My fiance always reminds me that I look very, very creepy. I just want to know what you're running in. I'm nice, I promise. That's funny. Yeah, I do notice that a lot of times too. One of the other parents at the bus stop was wearing a pair of white Carbon X3s to the bus stop today. I had many questions. The first day I saw that guy, I haven't had a chance to talk to that guy. But the first time I saw that guy, he was wearing a Disney Marathon shirt. So I'm like, okay, this guy's a runner. But like, maybe he was going for his run right after kid drop off. But I'm like, the Carbon X3s actually make for a pretty comfortable casual shoe, especially with the knit. But I'm like, that's an interesting choice. And let's see what we got in the chat here. I'm going to scroll down more. Mika says, I have 6 fresh pairs of Boston 9s. Wow. And Mika's max heart rate is 195, so pretty much right in range with the 171. Oh, no, I wasn't saying that the 171 heart rate was high. That's, especially if your max heart rate is 195. That's very squarely for a threshold run. It sounds like to me. But because I tend to overdo it a little bit in my threshold runs, and I'll get, towards the end of them, I'll get maybe towards 173. But I like to stay like right around high 169 to 171. So I'm definitely doing them too hard. But the 44 minutes, that's a long time. That's almost as much as I did how long it took me to do the Falmouth Road Race. And like I was really tired after that. Just so tired. But I'm just saying that's a tough workout. Good job. Rainwater wants to know, does CIM have a half option? The half option is the relay, I think. I don't think that there's otherwise just like a regular half option. Houston has a half marathon option. And I'm thinking about that. I'm also thinking about just filming the Houston half or the Houston marathon. The difficult thing about filming the Houston marathon is that the course loops all the way around the city. So it's hard to kind of get around. And there's the half marathon, which I guess I haven't looked at how close like the finishing times are. Like, I feel like a lot of people go to Houston to run a fast half and to run a fast full. And so like, I don't want to have to camp out by the finish line because I find that to be a little bit boring, but I also don't want to miss out on any of the action at the finish either. So I'm like, I don't know, but maybe it'll be a good one where I just kind of like hang out at the finish line. I think that could be a good runner's weekend, watching Houston half marathon. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see if I do that or not. Underestimated. What's going on? He says, is New York your gold race now? No, I think that the gold race is probably going to be CIM, because New York, I've not run it before, and I think that it's a tricky race just because with the bridges. And so I think that I'm going to run it to have fun and just take in the energy of the crowd and see how I feel on that day. Yeah, so just have a lot of fun with that one. I'm going to do the same thing for Chicago too, you know. Mandy Perry LeBlanc says, anyone here ever done the Tulsa Route 66 in November? Any input would be greatly appreciated. Is that the marathon? That's a marathon? Is it a marathon? Is that the marathon that has the world's shortest ultra? Like there's a point where there's a marathon in Oklahoma. I don't know if it's this one where it has the world's shortest ultra. And you don't have to sign up. I don't think you even have to sign up for it. But as you're running, there's a little part where you go out and there's like a lookout point that you go to the lookout point and then come back, and then it makes it longer than 26.2 or something like that. I don't know if that's that race. I'm not sure. But I just don't know how many marathons there are in Oklahoma. I'm so amazed by Mika, the fact that he has 6 fresh pairs of Boston 9s left. Because I mean it's 2022 now. So those shoes you've been holding on to those for a while. It's good work. That was a good shoe. Eric's talking to Brendan here, but this and I see it because it came up over the weekend. Eric tells Brendan, like, it's worse when you try to compliment people on their shoes when you notice them. And you're like, hey, nice Calderas there, and they just look puzzled, like, and because they don't know the name of the shoe. In Falmouth, there was a woman running in Meta Racers, and like it was probably close to, I want to say mile 5.5, maybe not quite, maybe mile 6. I don't know. Like miles 5 through 6, like my 5 through 7 are a blur. It's fun. That stretch is fun because there's a lot of the kids with the water squirt guns, and they're like, do you want to get squirted? And then you say, yeah. And then what I always do is I say, not me, but this person does. And even if they don't want to, I did that to someone today at the race. The kids were like, who wants to get water? And I was like, he does. And they totally nailed this other guy that I was running with. It was funny. But he had gotten the water squirt gun before from another group of kids. So I was like, okay, he's into it. But I'm running next to this girl who's running in Meta Racers, a pair of pink Meta Racers. And I'm like, I pull up right next to her and I say, Meta Racers, that's a nice choice. Because I feel like Meta Racers for a 7-mile race is pretty much perfect what the Meta Racer is designed for. And she kind of looked at me like, what? And I was like, I couldn't tell if she had headphones in, so I just said it louder. But I was like, I like your shoes. Nice shoes. Like that. And I think she was very confused. And then afterwards, I saw her like right after the race. We finished like right around the same time. I saw her and I was like, good work out there. And she just like walked by me and said nothing. So I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted, you don't see that many Meta Racers anymore. I loved that upper. That was such a good upper on that shoe. The midsole foam, not great for marathons, but for a 7-mile race would have been great. But she was just like, what is this guy doing? I mean, in her defense, she could have just been like out of it too. It was hot. It was hot that day. Really hot. Scott says that there's a fresh Endorphin Pro White Mutant. There is? There's a new one? Is it all white? Oh. Laura Thweet was running in I think she was running in the Endorphin Pro Plus this weekend. I don't think she was wearing the Endorphin Pro 3. But I feel like the Endorphin Pro Plus might be the better choice for a 7-mile race. James Edwards said the Pegasus Turbo 3 out but looks disappointing. Are they calling it a Peg Turbo 3? I know they're calling it Peg Turbo Zoomex Peg Turbo Nature. Right? But is the number 3 in there? I'm not sure if the 3's in there. I could be wrong. There's like 6 words in the title. But I don't like anything with the chopped up Zoomex. I'm going to pass on all of it. So, yeah, like Connor had a pair when I was out there in the running warehouse. And I was like, this is heavy, dude. And he's like, yeah, it's heavy. I'm like, have you run it? He's like, yeah. I'm like, do you like it? I'll let him tell you what he thinks. But with the way I felt it, I was just like, this just feels really not great. I didn't get to run in it, but I just felt like this doesn't feel like regular Zoomex or even close to it. I don't like any of the glued together Zoomex things. Sean said, if I could hoard one pair of shoes, well, like you don't need to hoard Nova Blast 3s because I mean it comes out next week or so, I think, right? But that's a great one. But for shoes like that, if I could hoard them, Peg Turbo 2s, that was a fantastic shoe. Speaking of turbos, I really like that one. The first Peg Trail, that was also a lot of fun. But I mean, like, is that hoard worthy? I don't know if it's hoard worthy. Just trying to think of shoes that like came out 4 years ago. There's the shoe that I still look for, like every once in a while, like when I'm really bored, like at an airport, and I'll hop on to StockX. I look for the Blue Fox Vaporfly 4%. Like that was the best color of it, I think, and I never got to have it. I've been looking for it for years, but that's a good one. That's a good one. I don't know that I would hoard them or buy multiple, but that's one that I'd like to have. That was a good, like they had the whole color pack too, the Blue Fox. There was the 4%, the Zoom Fly version 1, and then there was a Pegasus. They all looked really good. That was the year of the Peg 36, I think. That was a good one. Adam says, I wonder if she thought you were hitting on her. You know, I don't think so. She was a lot younger than me, so that would have been like really weird. But the other one time, I think if she had headphones in, one time when someone was trying to say something to me to a race, I thought they were cheering me on, and it turns out that I had like cut them off or something, and they were mad at me. So I don't know. Maybe she thought I was yelling at her the whole time, which I wasn't. I was trying to encourage her, but I don't know. HBC San Antonio says, is the San Antonio Marathon worth filming? I don't know. I mean, it depends on who's going, I think. I'm not familiar with the course. I mean, that might be fun in and of itself. But like for Houston, I like going to Houston. I wish I was at Houston last year because Keira D'Amato broke the record there last year. Sarah Hall broke the American half marathon record there last year. Roy Linkletter broke the Canadian record there last year. So yeah, people went there to run fast and fun things happened. And so like that's like the kind of thing that I wanted to go see. Scott said he went on the first run in the Endorphin Speed version 1. That was a good shoe. I remember that one. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to be running the Endorphin Speed 3. I got it already. just bought it. I unboxed it yesterday. I got to film it. Tomorrow I'm going to do a long run in the Endorphin Pro 3. See how I like it at a longer stint at marathon effort. We'll see how that goes. But we'll get to the... No, wait. Tomorrow I'm going to do a long run in the SC Trainer because I want to do that shoe review. And then the next long run will be the Endorphin Pro 3. And then today was in the Magic Speed. That video will come out soon since that shoe's coming out soon too. So yeah, a lot of reviews coming up. It's everyone pushed their reviews later, I guess, to kind of target marathon season. But yeah. Robert Krieger said, it was refreshing to chat about shoes for 4 to 5 miles during my first marathon with other shoe geeks. It helped the miles fly by. It does, doesn't it? It makes it a lot easier. Ibrahim Gussain said, I just brought a fresh pair of Peg Turbo 2s. Such a good shoe. Nice. Sean Marshall says, I'm hesitant to commit to a favorite shoe ever because of nostalgia. Yeah, but I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, that's the nostalgia is nice, and like, if the shoe's not around, then like the nostalgia, I guess, is unassailable in a way. So like that's part of it. Let the nostalgia be part of the consideration. I always tell people that nostalgia is the softest midsole. So that's why people like the Clifton one so much, I think. Stevie 76 would pick the LA Gear Carl Malone's. Oh yeah, whatever happened at LA Gear and British Knights? That was like the same company, right? I feel like they had the same things, but like couldn't be like more opposite names. Dad Runner Alice here says, yo, I'm late. Better late than never. Good to see you. And Charm Marshall says, the Peg Turbo 2 is getting to legendary lore territory. I will agree with you. It was a good shoe, though. I mean, I remember I ran 20-mile runs in it. I did track workouts in it. And there's not a lot of shoes that I could do both, or that I'd want to do both in. I mean, assuming I could do it like for like a YouTube video or for a bet or something, But I mean, it's pretty versatile. Shannon said, I'd hoard the Prime X, and now they're out of my size. Well, there's a Prime X too, or at least there's a new color that came out. I don't know if I just saw Ed Bud posted a video on it. Ed Bud's calling it a 2, but I think that Adidas is like, at least for a lot of it, like the SL20, they're not calling it like the next number. It's still SL20. Kind of like iPhone. Although even though iPhones are still iPhone 13, iPhone 14, whatever. But I don't know what Adidas is doing it in a confusing way. I don't know. But they should be making more. So you can always get more. Scott says, the Zoom Fly Flyknit is hoard worthy. I'd only wear it around the house. That was a good shoe. You know what Flyknit shoe I would hoard more than the Zoom Fly Flyknit? The Epic React. That was a good shoe. Like, I got rid of mine at 300 miles, and I think I got that one to 350, and I regretted when I got rid of it. I was like, I should have kept that. I liked it more than a lot of stuff that I had at the time. Oh, wait. Ray says that the shipping is delayed until the end of September on the Noblesse 3? From where? Oh, well, I'll have to look into that. Vincent wants to know, will you be keeping more shoes now that you have room for them? Yeah, so I'm going to hold on to more of them. Plus, I think that my nephew, who has been getting the bulk of my shoes for a while now, my 10-year-old, well, I guess he just turned 11, my 11-year-old nephew, has the same shoe size as me. So he's been getting a bunch of my shoes. He's like, I think 1 week he showed up to school in like 3 different pairs of Bondis from like 3 different years in 1 week. But I think he's growing, and I do want to hold on to some more of them just so I can have them for comparison's sake. And I think that eventually, like, I'll probably have a wall of sorts behind me, and I'll roll this paper up. I'll probably do some sort of display wall for the live streams. I don't know if I'll go like full like corner to corner shoes, but I'd like to do some sort of kind of display, and have a handful of shoes there, and then hold on to just some others in more like bulk storage. But I gotta kind of still figure that out. James Elwer said, I finally had to retire my old school Lunar Racers. I never ran the Lunar Racer, but people love that shoe. People talk so highly about it. The Lunar Lawn, that was the material in the first Zoomfly Flynet. And I liked it for a speed shoe because you could really like lay into it. You could really push off hard on it. But it was firm at the slower speeds, but people liked it even at like daily trainer speed, like daily easy run. And I was like, I don't know about that. I just never experienced it as a regular shoe though. So maybe a different shoe, it would be better. Adam says, Keira's going for the American record at Berlin. Yeah, that's what I hear. I mean, was she not supposed to announce? Because I thought I was just listening to the Cities Mag interview of her after Falmouth, and they were like, someone else leaked it out. We didn't leak it out, you know. And she was like, oh, was I not supposed to say? Because I guess she just forgets if they're still under embargo or not. But I'm like, I guess I don't know anyone else that's running Berlin. So someone at some point, she's mentioned to someone at some point that she's eyeing Berlin. And I remember when I heard it, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Fast course, she's going for a record. Yeah, I mean, she's ran not as fast as she could, but she's tried running Houston. But I'm assuming that like if she tries it at Berlin, there's a bigger appearance fee that she can get probably than at Houston. So it's a bigger stage. So I think that would be pretty cool. Yeah, what else did she say was she was getting ready to run? She's doing like the 20K race coming up soon. She's doing a lot of racing. Martha says, please tell us how the Pro does, even at age-graded marathon pace, in other words, slower than yours, like the Endorphin Pro. I think that it did really well at like slower paces for me. Like, I think that the way that the Endorphin Pro, and I think you're asking about the Endorphin Pro 3, not the Adios Pro 3, but the Endorphin Pro, just because we mentioned Berlin. But I think the Endorphin Pro 3 at easier speeds, the softness, I definitely feel it more there. And so it had moments where I was like, this is almost endorphin speed like at paces that were less than my marathon speed. So I felt like, it was surprisingly comfortable at some of the easy paces. Again, like my biggest question is like, at 15 miles, am I still gonna like it? You know? So I think though the other day workout that I did the other day was 12 miles and I felt great. So I have to double check what the numbers were on that one, but we'll see. Robert Krieger said, I picked up a pair of Alphafly 2s for 165 and I'm not sure what to do with them as I have too many carbon plated racers. Use them for your long runs, long steady runs, you know, wear them casually, make people mad, you know, it's a great problem to have, or just save them, hoard them for later, you know. How'd you get Alphafly 2s for 165 though? Alphafly 1s, I understand like some colors, but Alphafly 2s, that just came out. That doesn't make sense. Amazing. Calvin Huang says, so by this point we agree that the Nike free trend was just that, no actual benefits compared to like the super shoe / plated trend. I mean, no, I wouldn't say that. And they still make those. They make the free and the free RN. I don't know what the RN means, but like it's more of it's like Nike's only like 5mm drop shoes. And like there's a big story behind it. There's a lot of writing on the website. There was like, yeah, this was modeled after like Nike engineers were observing that the Stanford athletes would run across the golf course barefoot. And we realized the benefits of barefoot running. And so we made a shoe that would more closely mimic the sensations of barefoot running. And like I remember, at least the last time I looked at the Nike Frees, that was like the Nike Free shoe, not the Nike Freeze as in frozen, but the Nike Free, FRE. It was like this like had a warning almost on it. It was like this shoe is meant for like 3 to 5 miles max. I was like, okay, so not for long road sessions. But I also don't think that people were meant to race in them. So it's a little bit different than what's going on with the carbon or plated shoes. Just different uses. Rainrunner says, the Fresh Roam More version 4 is now in stock at Running Warehouse. Are you sure? Are you sure it's not? I think it's just pre-order. Because I saw that and I was like, oh yeah, I want to get it early. I'm like, oh, I don't know if they made a mistake because I don't think it's supposed to get sold till September 1. But then I think when I tried to do it, did you get one on Rainrunner? Because if you did, I might have to get one. Again, if I want to get the all white one. No, it's not all white, but it's a white one. That's the one I want to get. Louis says, I saw the SL20 version 3 on sale in Running Warehouse. Yeah, that shoe, they just like make them and discount them. Make them and discount them. I don't understand what they're doing with that one. James wants to know, would a carbon plate work with the turbo too, or would it stop being a turbo? I think it would stop being a turbo. I was thinking about this in the shower today because I was thinking about the Magic Speed. And like whether it's a plated Nova Blast, which I don't think it is. And I'm like, I think even if you took a Nova Blast and put a plate in it, like in the middle of it, you'd have to like increase the foam by a lot to make it still feel like a Nova Blast. Because the plate, I think, just changes the dynamics of the squish of the shoe. And so, like, yeah, I think if you put a plate in the turbo, it would not be a good turbo anymore. JC says, "Co, being your hand-me-down shoe recipient would be a quite lucrative position." Yeah, I mean, you know what's very convenient? There's a Goodwill across from the Walmart here. So I'm like, okay, this is where I'll drop off all my shoes now. So, yeah. Martha says I should hang up the medals too. I don't really keep the medals though. I haven't, well, because we haven't had space, but I guess I could keep medals now. I think I still have like my Chicago Marathon medals and the giant Chicago Half Marathon medals. Other than that, I'm not sure what medals I've been keeping. I haven't been keeping very many. Like no disrespect intended, but I probably should have just not taken a medal at Falmouth, but I left mine in Boston. I did not bring it home. Because like for a while, my kids were like, "Oh, Daddy, look, I got me a medal. I won a race today." You know, they would wear it around, but now they're older and they've seen enough of those, and they're like, "Oh, that's nice." So yeah. Ibrahim Hussein wants to know what's the oldest running shoe I still own. I still have my pair of Pegasus 33 Shields. You can't wear it. I couldn't run in them anymore. I occasionally will walk in them, but I probably haven't walked in them in like 2 years. I just still have them. I like that shoe. It was beautiful, black and gray, and like kind of like a deep green, I guess maybe. And it's the first shoe that I ran in to run all winter long. So there's some sentimental value. That's why I hold on to that one. Calvin says, all hail the true ruler of running shoes, the Air Monarch 4E wide and white. You know what's amazing is that people did originally run in that shoe. Who was telling me a story? I think it was Jarrett. Was it Jarrett over the weekend telling me a story how his dad ran a marathon in like a pair of like 990s or something, or like a pair, I don't even know what the numbers are for some of the New Balance casual shoes, but like, you know, the gray ones that you always see that like hypebeasts go crazy over, and I'm like, it's just a gray New Balance casual sneaker. They're nice, but I don't understand why people go so crazy over them. But like Jarrett was telling me that I think it was his dad that ran one in that, and I was just like, wow, that's amazing. It's amazing what people used to run marathons in. Yeah, the Air Monarch. Um, yeah, Adam says I don't keep my bibs and I don't cherish my medals. I don't keep the bibs either. I stopped keeping those. Um, and yeah, I don't keep the medals. And like this year, the Falmouth bib, I don't know what it was, but I had problems with mine. I think because I got it wet, like I was dumping water on myself, and like it had ripped away from the pin at one point. And Jarrett, speaking of Jarrett, like his like came completely off, or he must have like ripped the rest of it off. But he was like at mile 3, it was like it had some problems, but it has your chip timer in it. So he was carrying it in his hand as it was like falling apart for the last 4 miles. But yeah, I do think they can make bibs smaller. Mika says, my dad still uses and walks every day, and gel nim is 12s. That's a nice solid 10 years of durability. That's amazing. That's a lot of durability. Oh, Martha says, I gave almost all of my medals to a children's hospital. They loved it to give to the kids for bravery. I only kept a boss and a few special ones. Yeah, if that was an option, I would do that. I would be like, yeah, I would definitely do that. That'd be fun. Oh, Andrew's saying, here's this story. Well, this is a crazy story. There was a big mess up at Dick's Sporting Goods on the Alpha Flight 2. They got marked down by accident, and then other places like Nike Official price matched it for a bit. He says it was wild. That is wild. That's crazy. Oh my goodness. And Robert Krieger says the same thing. Wow. Robert said it was a mistake, but he grabbed a pair while he could. Yeah. You know what? The first time I don't know if it was the first time, but I remember one of the first times that I had like communicated directly with Thomas, like in direct message, was for the Vomero 14, I think it was. And for the Vomero 14, was it the Vomero 14? Like Nike had seeded that product to a lot of people. And then I was able, I don't remember how I found out, but like Roadrunner Sports had it on sale. Or was it running where someone had it on sale online, and I ordered a pair, and like I was like, oh, this is not supposed to be out yet. It let me order it. So I ordered it and it came to my house. I ran in it fast. I did a video and I put it up, and Thomas was like, dude, this is still under embargo. And I'm like, it's not under embargo if I bought it myself, which is all true. But I mean, it can't be someone else's mistake. And then like a day later, the place that I had bought it from had taken it down because it was way early, really, really early. Yeah. So sometimes there are mistakes. I remember my friend Tyler, chimp named Enid, who's in Atlanta. And I didn't know this, but he knows Drew Whitcomb. They're both very tall, so I'm guessing it's just all the tall people know each other. He was telling me that he had a friend that worked at a shoe store, and for whatever reason, had no idea, like would never pay attention to when embargoes were. And whenever product came into the store, they would just put it on the shelf. So he would just go to the store every once in a while and see what they had on the shelf that shouldn't have been there, would just buy it all. There's weird stuff that happens. I don't know if that still happens at that store. I'm guessing it doesn't. Oh, and Rainer says that the Fresh From More 4 is available. Just posted at Running Warehouse. All right. We'll have to get it. Rainer says, they just posted on Instagram, and I'm debating, do I need it? Not really, but that white blue looks cool. Yeah, I mean, I got plenty. I got so many shoes I got to be testing right now. But it's like, I really did like the Fresh Foam more last year. So if it's available, like I want to get it. You know, I don't know. We'll see. All right. Mika said, saw Bondi 8s for 33% off just yesterday in a local shop. That's wild. Why is that not selling? It's a good Bondi this year. But I guess maybe if they're like, this is not moving at all. I don't know. Weird. And Sean Marshall's like, yeah, no, for real, it's up. Already low numbers. Oh, I'll have to go look. And Rainer wants to know what's the Magic Speed 2 like. The Magic Speed 2 is a lot like the Metaspeed Edge. Now, I don't love the Metaspeed Edge, but I enjoy the Magic Speed 2. It's hard. I mean, it makes sense to me in my mind. Thomas and I have had many conversations about this because I'm like, Thomas, you prefer the Metaspeed Edge Plus, but you don't like the Magic Speed 2. He's like, it's good. I don't love it. And I'm like, fair. He's like, but he's talking to me, like, but you don't love the Metaspeed Edge, but you enjoy the Magic Speed 2. I'm like, yes. I'm like, neither of us make sense right now. But it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. Ray says the Moors rub my ankles. I prefer the Bondis. They do, but is it on the sides? Because the Moors have the big Achilles flare. They even pad the Achilles flare. But the whole point of it, an Achilles flare is not supposed to touch your foot. To sort of pad it always seems weird to me. But But I could see on the sides. That shoe is very built up. But I haven't seen I've seen the 4, but I don't think I've ever actually tried it on foot. Stevie76 wants to know, do we really need a medal for a 5K? I think for a 5K, I think it depends on the 5K. Because I think for a lot of people, the 5K is kind of like that, not beginner race. Because it's not for beginners. I'm doing a 5K. And I'm not a beginner. Not to say that I'm an expert, but like the 5K is a lovely distance. It's painful. But for a lot of people, it might be their first race ever. And I think for people that have not done a race before, to get that medal, I think is really important. So that's why I like medals still for 5Ks, but I think it depends on the race, So it all comes down to that. All right. I'm going to have to get going, guys. That's going to be it for today. Tomorrow... No, there's not going to be a video tomorrow. I still have to do one more test run in the SC trainer, and then that video will come out Friday. But we'll do another live stream tomorrow. It won't be happy hour because tomorrow I got to drive out like an hour away. But my daughter has her first cross-country meet already. I think she's racing a mile. I think that's what they make the 5th grade girls run, at least around here. I think that's what it is. So I'll be going to that. I'll still do live stream, but I'm going to have to be able to drive. Not that I get like tanked during a happy hour, but but I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time as today, 1 p.m. Central Time. Until then, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.